here in our space so that we can rightfully recognize you. Before we begin as well, I would love to acknowledge our amazing, amazing speakers that we have here. I was super excited for today because I said to myself, wow, today is really going to be a very interesting day where we're going to be learning from a whole bunch of important people that we have here in our midst. Because we have very limited time with Aure, I am going to start with her and then we're going to move to our second speaker, who is Jafianu. So let me read Aura's bio, and then we are going to bring her on. Actually, hold on. Let me conjoin you as my spotlighter. Give me 1 minute, okay? All right, then I'll do this. Great. Okay, perfect. So here with Aure Maxwell. Here reads her beautiful bio. So, Aure Maxwell is a medical student at the University of Calgary with a deep passion for mentorship, health equity, advocating for underserved communities, and improving access to education. She is from the Grand Prairie and completed a Bachelor of Health Sciences at Queen's University. Aure has been actively involved in numerous organizations, including co founding Queen's Cancer Kids First, a nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting pediatric cancer patients and their families. She has received numerous awards, including the Impact in Equity Award and the Agnes Benedictson Tricolor Award, the highest tribute that can be paid to a Queen's University student for distinguished service, leadership, character, and community impact. We have seen her being featured on CTV News, many other things. Her bio is lengthy and long, but because we have limited time with her, we are going to learn more about her through our conversation today. Now, before we get into the conversation with Aure, let me read a statistic that I found out recently to let you know why Aura being here is a very big deal. So overall, when it comes to the medical school admission rates in Canada, it's quite low. And it's only about 15 to 20% of applicants that actually get offered admission. Sometimes it's as low as 2 to 10%, and in others, it might be due to 18 to 20% due to the high competitiveness. Now, let's move on to Black students. The number of Black students that actually get admitted to medical schools in Canada is 1.7%. Let that sink in. 1.7% of Black students get admitted to medical school in Canada. Aura Maxwell got into 7. Baby girl, I have a lot to ask you today. But first of all, I just wanted to say congratulations. Like, I want us to give her love, show her some hearts, show her some love in the chat box. Because I was just talking to my colleague yesterday and we said some people, because they do not get admission, they go to the States, they go to the Caribbean, they go to Poland, they go to Russia, Ukraine. But girl, you got into 7. My first question for you, do you have the same 24 hours like all of us? I'm just curious. Maybe God gave you like 32. I don't know if you mind sharing some of them with us.
I wish I had 32. I wish I had 48. I wish I had 50, but honestly, God has really poured his blessings into me, and I'm so grateful to even be in this position to begin with. And that's why I'm so passionate about giving back and saying, you know what? You can go ahead and achieve your goals. You can put in your application, you can do all the things and just pray and just push for the best.
Speaking of God, how does your faith impact your academic journey?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. And I'm very lucky that I went to Queen's University and I found such a vibrant and electric faith community there. And so when you have fellowship, not only with yourself, but with friends and with small groups, discipleship groups at church, that really helped. And, I was going to church concurrently as I was applying to medical school, as I was doing interviews. I'd have an interview on Saturday, church on Sunday, right? So it was just really nice to have that grounding aspect of faith and Christianity to help throughout the process and to have fellowship and sisterhood and mentorship as well to lean back on.
Do you serve in church?
I don't actually, but I'm looking, I just moved to Calgary, so
Right.
I'm new to church right now, but
Right.
I'm getting involved and going through the motions, so I hope to start serving soon.
So at your old church, were you serving there?
I wasn't serving there in Kingston, but I was
Okay.
serving in my home church in Grand Prairie.
And what was your role in the church?
Yeah, I was working in the kids ministry, and that was so wholesome, so cute. The kids are very excited all the time, no matter what you're talking about. They're excited. So I always look forward to going back home and getting back into that.
So as you speak, what you really drew to my attention is Matthew 6:33, where it
Mhm.
says, "Seek you first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all other things shall be added unto you." So you even saying that you go to church, then right after church, I'm sorry, you go to church, yes, church or sometimes school then church, or you go to church and then you'll be applying for medical school. It's very
Yeah.
enlightening because I believe that God has played a very key role in you even standing out to get the admission. So congratulations on that. Now,
Thank you.
my other question for you is now knowing that you're even very involved in church and very involved in other activities. What other activities besides church do you do?
Yeah, so I really try to get myself involved as much as I can just
Mm,
because there is so much you can do and it's not often easy to find those opportunities. So I'd say I kind of had three buckets. I had
mm.
mentorship, I had advocacy, and then I had creativity slash fun. So I'll start on the latter end with the
So
creativity slash
mention
fun,
mentorship,
advocacy, and
advocacy.
then creativity
So
slash fun.
MAC, Mac. Okay.
Yes, Mac. I
Break
like
that
that.
down for us.
Mac. So I'll start with C for fun because I'm feeling
Okay.
fun right now. So for creativity and fun, one of the big things I did at Queen's that I really liked was I was on the Queen's Foodies Club. I really like food. I like cooking food. I like eating food. All my friends know, my family know that is the key to my heart. So naturally, Foodies Club was really, really cool because I got to collaborate with multicultural students and go through their cultural dishes and cultural foods that made them feel at home. And then
Mm,
I got to share my own favorite Nigerian dishes like jollof rice and the list goes on really, but food was a really fun one. I also do a lot of music. I play clarinet, I play piano. I'm trying to learn the guitar right now. That's been interesting. So those are some of my fun ones. And then going to the A in Mac advocacy, I'm really big on advocacy. Again, I think there's so much power and dynamite in paying it forward, helping someone once you've done something similar, and also advocating for underserved groups. So
mm,
I'd say in that category, one of the biggest things I did was I co-founded an organization with Ruki, actually, who's on this call too, and two of our other colleagues, and it's called Queen's Cancer Kids First. And
mm,
essentially, we're trying to support pediatric cancer patients and their families. So we did fundraising, we did awareness through our Instagram page, and we actually did international relations. So we collaborated with Uganda and we helped to support cancer patients there too. So when it comes down to that advocacy, another thing I did was Queen's Black Academic Society, or QBAS for short. And on that, it was all the Black students who went to Queen's and just doing things like real talks and potlucks and game nights, barbecues to just really advocate for those younger students who came before us. And then going backwards again to the M of Mac, so the mentorship, this was another really big one. I think, again, paying it forward is the way of life.
mm,
So I was a senior mentor for the Q Success first year mentorship program. So this were the first year students coming into Queens, they're moving away from home, etc. So I was just able to be a leader for them and organize really fun events. I organized this field day event where we did all sorts of fun games, like one where you have a blindfold and you're trying to scoop cotton
mm-hmm,
balls into a bowl, but they're so light that you can't tell if you're scooping them or not. And everyone's just laughing and all over the place. And it's those small things that can help you to build connections right
right.
away. And so with that mentorship, I also was a residence dorm. So I lived on campus. And again, looking after those first year students who are coming in physically moving away from home. It can be
Mm-hmm.
very, very hard. I can attest to that myself. So, just having fun, supporting students, I'm really big on that. And just remembering again, always to pay it forward.
Okay. Amazing. Good job. I'm so proud of you.
Oh,
Now, with all these activities, so then you've given light to the fact that as students, it's very important that we maintain balance. We have
yes.
that mentorship of paying it forward to community. We have that advocacy where we are standing up for things that need to be done in society. And then the C, obviously, ensuring that things are fun. Now, were these things that you listed in your medical school applications? And do you think that having that balance of grades and extracurricular activities is what made your application stand out?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And it's funny because almost exactly a year ago today, I was actually submitting some of my applications for some of this.
Uh,
So it's really just a full circle moment now
Moment.
to be
Yeah.
talking about it and even helping pre-meds as well on their journey
Mm,
through it. But for me, yes, I did try and be myself on all my applications. So the things I was doing in school, those are the things I put on my application.
mm,
And stories and the emotions that came from that, those are the things I was talking about. Even
mm.
the game I was just mentioning with the cotton balls and
You wrote that in your application too?
yeah, I talked about the
Whoa.
games I hosted. I talked about fun things, right? And that's
Mm,
why I think that it helped me to stand out because I
mm,
try to just be unapologetically myself. And that's something that I always preach to other people too. It's, you know what, put yourself on the page and see what happens from there, right? Because that's how you can portray yourself. And so that's kind of the way I approached it.
amazing. Now, coming on to all these great, incredible activities that you were doing and still getting, what was your GPA? 4.0?
It changed for different schools, but the
Okay.
freshest one in my head is U of C, and that was a 4.0. Yes.
Okay. So, doing all these activities, still getting a 4.0, how were you able to ensure that you were having fun, being an advocate, mentoring, and then still having time for your studies? What were, I want you to give us like key strategies. I don't want the ones where it's like, oh, I'm just naturally gifted. But in addition to be naturally smart, what were some of the practical things you did in your learning strategies and the apps you use to ensure that you were very focused and maintain that balance?
Yeah, again, great question. And I'm walking back down memory lane, thinking
Hmm.
of undergrad me as I was going through all the motions.
Hmm.
I'd say I was really big on time blocking, and that meant my Google Calendar, multicolored, different blocks. So I'd say, okay, this block is for my club meeting, this block is for having dinner, this block is for doing dawn-related activities, this block is for studying XYZ. But I always made sure to give myself grace throughout, just because you really never know what's going to happen in a day. And there needs to be some space for different
Mm,
things. But I try to use that Google Calendar. I also try to, I initially started by writing down the tasks I
mhm,
had to do, but soon that became too cumbersome, I feel like. So I just moved to digital and I just put everything in my calendar. I'm trying to think what else I did at that time because as I'm hearing myself talk, I'm thinking that was a lot to handle at once, and I feel as though just also knowing when you're in your flow state. So for
mm,
me, my flow state comes at night.
mm,
So if I need to stay up to work, I will do that. Some people like to wake up super early in the morning, and that's when they flow best. And that really just depends on you as an individual. So yeah, just identifying when you have the most time to be in that flow state is another
mm.
thing I'd recommend.
I love that point you made about flow state because definitely some of us work better either early mornings or in the night. So, um, first of all, identifying that and then working according to that, I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
So you also did time blocking where
Yes.
you put your responsibilities or things that you had to do in certain time blocks on your Google calendars. Was
Yes.
there ever times where you were very distracted, or do you are you someone that never gets distracted?
I wish I was someone who never got distracted, but as humans, we naturally will have those times of,
Hmm.
you're having whatever happening in life. So
Hmm.
that again goes back to that giving yourself grace point.
Mm,
It's okay if you need a little bit more time. That's always fine.
mm,
So I always make sure to account for that if possible, and maybe just kind of be aware that life happens and
Mm.
just kind of use the time and resources at hand.
Coming back to something very important, which is support. What was your support system like during your undergrad years, which helped you to even get into these medical schools? Because truthfully, you're not an island. And I'm sure that you
Mm.
were not able to do everything on your own. So, what was the support system like, and who were the key people that played a role into you getting to where you are?
Yeah, great question. And I'm just so grateful to have had such strong mentors throughout the
Mm,
entire process
mm,
from the very beginnings. Hey, can you read my application?
wow.
To the very end. Hey, I got into med school. Thank you so
Mm,
much for
mm,
everything, right? So you have that progression. So when I was at Queen's, it was the most supportive community.
mm,
I was on scholarship at Queen's, so I had a scholarship advisor who I met her from the very beginnings till the very end. She was with me for all those 3 years. She was a great support system. Through all my extracurriculars, really, there was a faculty lead or some sort
mm,
of adult that was always helpful there too. Of course, I mentioned church already. So I had my discipleship group leads, I had my pastors as well. They were amazing. Of course, I had my lovely family, my mom, my dad, my siblings that really helped to keep me grounded, especially when I was writing that MCAT. And we
mm,
were all in the same house. So they were all feeling it too. And
mm,
so, you just have those people that are so important to the process.
mm,
And I know that it takes a village to get
mhm.
here. And that's why, again, I'm so big on helping other people and trying to remind them that this is possible and you can do it. So again, just so grateful for everyone.
That's amazing. You made a detailed list of your support system that has really helped you. How were you able to? Well, obviously, when it comes to family, sometimes it's automatic where they feel the onus to support you. But how were you able to also draw support from like your school, your faculty leads? Did you take the initiative and even the mentorship, right? Because I think we're in a generation where one question I tend to get often is, um, a lot of the young people feel very scared to seek mentors, to seek for help. So, how did you take the initiative, or was it brought to you to want to be mentored or to be a mentee?
Yeah, I'd say a bit of both, but I'd almost lean a bit more to me reaching out. I
Mm,
think that for me, I know that there are going to be times when I need to ask for help. I'm
right.
very much okay with that. I know that. And I'm glad that I have that insight to say, please help me. Please
Hmm.
give me whatever support I can. I'm writing an application. Can you please read it? Can you please XYZ? So really, it's hard sometimes to reach out because, it's vulnerable, but I don't know, I just was okay with it, I guess, with putting myself out there
Out
and just
there.
requesting that. But at the same time, people were very nice and conducive to me too,
Mm,
and lent an olive branch out to me as well. So I
mm.
guess just both sides to those.
You got a full scholarship at Queen's, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How were you? Because getting an undergrad scholarship is more challenging than getting a graduate school scholarship. So I'm very curious, how were you able to position yourself to get a full scholarship at Queen's University?
Yeah, so that scholarship was actually related to EDI and social justice efforts. And because I obviously was a high school student when I applied, it was things I was doing in high school. So
Mm,
things like the Black Student Union, and I was doing volunteering with bringing hot meals to people in need. And so just extracurriculars activities. I was also one of the 12 prefects at my school, so like the leadership team. And those times and those events kind of were what I put on the application for the scholarship. And again, very grateful, very lucky to have received it and to have had that opportunity.
what's the all the activities that you're mentioning? I think what stands out to me is you were not just involved, and I don't know if you, I think maybe you might see it as a passion, but for me listening to you, you were very involved in meaningful activities. Because some of us might be here, we think, oh, let me just get involved in this. Let me just get involved in this sport or that activity. But most of the things you did seem to be very intentional and meaningful that eventually all came together to you being where you are. So I think that's something I am even learning from you, to not just be involved in things that don't matter, but be quite circumspect and intentional about some of the activities I devote my time to. Now, before I let you go, I came across an article on CTV News that said your motto is "Do it afraid." Tell us
Mm.
more about that and your final words to people who might be here that feel very hesitant when trying to take a step. Because I started with the statistic of medical school. Me,
Yeah.
if I saw that statistic, I would have never applied, because what are the odds that I'm going to get accepted to a 1.7% admission rate? But
Mm.
you did it afraid. So I want you to speak more to that and also leave with the final words of advice to someone who wants to take a giant step but might be hesitant to.
Yeah, thank you for framing that question so beautifully. And yes, Do It Afraid is something huge to me. And I have to give a shout out to my mom because she really helped to imbibe that in me from a young
Mm,
age. To me, when I think of the word afraid or scared, you might think, oh, I have cold feet. I can't do this.
mm,
But when I'm thinking I'm afraid, I'm thinking, wow, I'm emotional. I might be scared, but things are heightened. So
mm,
using that heightenedness is
mm,
a way you can really put yourself in a good position. When you have those emotions of saying, you know what, I don't know if this is going to go my way, but I'm going to do it anyway, because this is the time where I feel the most at a high level. The cortisol is flowing. You're in that flow state, like I mentioned before, to just go ahead and do it. And I know it's so easy to say that and hard to actually put a pen to a paper and do it. But this is the advice I give to any of my mentees is that you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. If you don't put your name in a hat, you're not going to be picked for the draw. And it can be hard to do that. But just remembering who you are, where you came from, who the people are who are standing behind you, your village that's there to support you, and remembering what you can achieve. And that also can be tied to faith too, and just having that groundedness in yourself and your spirit. And it can be just that confidence boost to push you to that next level. And I know for me, when I was applying to medical school, I had no idea it would end up with this outcome. I had no idea. And I was very afraid, but I did it that way because I knew I wanted it and I
mm.
knew I had prayed for this. And so I knew this would be the time. So that advice I have to those pre-meds or pre-law students or anyone going to do anything in life is that you're never going to know what happens. You don't read a book when you already know the ending. You wouldn't want to. You read it to get the story and to get the feeling and the emotion. So it's okay to not know what is happening. It's okay to take a leap of faith and to just put yourself out there. And that's something I'm so happy that I did because this is where I am now. I'm in medical school. And every day I still can't really believe that I will be a physician. And this is exactly what I had been wanting for so long. And so if you're thinking about doing something and you're really just not sure about it, I would say just go and do it. It's possible. You know, you're human, I'm human, we're all human, we can get things done and lean on those support systems. It does take a village and you will end up successful by God's grace and by whatever thing that means something to you can be done with just some really hard work and some dedication and self-regulation.
This was so good. You know, as you spoke, a funny sentence came to my head, but your last words can be summarized in use your high to get high,
Mm.
because you talked about the emotions. So use your high emotions to get high, not high in the high, but high in the sense of high in what you want to achieve. I just
Yeah.
want to say, is that your mom, Olubukola?
Yes, my mom.
Before you go, I just want to say, mommy, thank you. Thank you for supporting Aura to get to where she is at this point. Without you, she wouldn't have gotten there. So thank you, mommy. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Aura, we love you. We are proud of you. The whole community is behind you. If you need anything, we are always here to support you and keep going. We love you.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much. I'm feeling the love, and I would have loved to stay on this call, but I do have to run. But thank you all so much for joining, and I
Thank
wish
you.
everyone the very best. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. That was so, so good. Thank you so much, Aura. Aura has to run to class for her clinicals. But we have another amazing, amazing, amazing woman here with us, and we're going to continue on the conversation today. I felt like for today's talk, we cannot just have one person. We have to have more people, have different perspectives, see where everyone's learning strategies are. And we have Jifianu. Jifianu, I want to mention your phone name because I love it. Jifianu Afi Edotoga. Did I say it right?
You
Oh,
got the
girl, you gotta give it to me,
correct. You got the
please.
first half correct.
Okay, can you pronounce your last name? Nanaya said close. Nanaya, please.
Yeah. Close. The last name is Edotoga.
Edotoga. You know, I
Yeah.
tried to bring the Ever accent, but I think I should have just stuck to the Edotoga.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. So I'm just going to read your bio for those who might have no idea. So Chifiano is a social impact advocate. She's a dynamic content creator, a strategist, a faith-driven creative. She's passionate about helping women and young people unlock their full potential. She has a background in biomedical science and years of experience in digital marketing and brand strategy. Chifiano is building a multidisciplinary career that is focused on equipping others with the tools to thrive academically, professionally, and personally. As the founder of the African Female Initiative, Chifiano leads programs that empower young girls through education, literacy, health advocacy, and career development. Jifiano brings his signature blend of authenticity, insight, and encouragement to inspire audiences to dream boldly, build purposefully, and lead with impact. Jifiano, you are welcome.
Thank you so much, Mommy.
Baby girl, first and foremost, how do you get the time to content create? And today I went to do some few investigation about you. I heard you were a big church girl. So funny enough, we're bringing all the church girlies, the academic
Yeah.
church girlies here.
Yeah.
You do a lot of church stuff. You are educated. You're a content creator. You're a strategist. Only you, everybody want. Only you. Only you multiple multiple. How does it feel to be God's favorite?
It feels great. I can't lie. I am God's favorite, so you're
Clock
right.
it.
It feels great. God is very, very good and kind to me. So yeah.
That's amazing. What is your service in church? And I heard you're in Oasis gathering too. So I know some Oasis people in the building. Please share your
Right.
hearts and your love in the comments. But
Right.
what do you do in church and what do you do at Oasis?
Okay, lovely. So at church I fellowship at Empowerment Worship Center.
Okay.
I serve as
The what's it called? Dada B Church.
if you want to call us that, I mean we're gonna be as in like, God is our dad and
Hallelujah.
those that makes sense. So I serve at the teens department. Yeah, shout out to my prophet. Yes, yes. I'm not exactly a member of Oasis. I am an associate member, and so my service there is more of support. It's family business. So however I support, occasionally I lead Bible study, which is my whole thing. But like, yeah, I'm a supportive member.
That's amazing. So now let's go into your I think you said you're a high weapon academic Barbie. No, high weapon academic.
It's
What
holy academic weapon.
holy, so why did I get the high from? I think because of or I'm
Because
just on high.
yeah.
So holy academic weapon. Thank you for that
Yes.
correction. What does that imply?
I think it came from, so the story is I started sharing my journey online when I started university.
Mm.
And, it was more like I'm trying to be on top of my studies, be on top of like 900 other things. And like also, Charlie, the thing that is keeping me going is God. And so I think there was like a meme or something going around about being an academic weapon. And I was like, I'm an academic weapon, but like not a regular one, like not a regular one, like a holy one. So the holy academic weapon became like a personal brand, which now it's evolving into something more, but a personal brand that represents like pursuing academic success and just like self-development, but while keeping Christ as the focus.
That's amazing. So you did your undergrad in biochemistry.
Biomedical science.
Biomedical science, pardon me. So speaking of biomedical science, I know I did my undergrad, a portion of it in health sciences. Coming from an area where STEM, especially for women, is not very, very predominant, right? You don't see a lot of women when it comes to even STEM courses like that. What was the decision like deciding to go into biomedical sciences?
Okay, so I chose to do biomedical science at university, but the path of like being a scientist started in senior high school. It's a very funny story to me. In primary school, I was always the kid who was like writing stories and drawing things and reading all the time. I think I was artsy. I still am. And then I was going to high school. And in the Ghanaian system, you have to choose, you're either an art student or a business student or a general science student at the time. Like those are some of the options. And you know what? I looked at the options and I was like, I already read all the time and I talk about books and I already know how to draw. If I do art, it'll be too easy. And now that I look back at it, I'm wondering who let me make that decision. I was like, but you see the science, it looks difficult. Let me do that one. And so I chose it purely because I was bored and I wanted a challenge. And and so when I was going to the university again, it was what's the challenge? And biomedical science was a challenge. It has so many, it's so interdisciplinary, there's so much you learn. But by that time, I figured out that what kept me moving towards science was just I'm curious. And biomedical science makes you know so many things about so many different things. And so that was a decision-making process. I was gravitating towards the challenges.
The challenge. That's quite so. Are you someone that's very adventurous? Because for the most part, I would not imagine someone who would just want to go into a 4-year undergrad program just because it's challenging. Would you describe yourself as very adventurous?
Intellectually adventurous.
I love that.
Socially and otherwise, no, I don't think anybody would describe me as adventurous. But in terms of like wanting to know stuff, I always want to know something new. So yeah.
So did your parents play a factor in you deciding to get into biomedical sciences?
Again, I just wanted to be special. My parents are all artists, like their education, they work in education, right? But I mean, they're in the social sciences, psychology, language. Everybody in my family is like, arty. And I said, I'm special. I cannot be like all of you. I'll do my own thing. So they played a factor in that they were supportive, but it was more so, let me try something that nobody else has done.
And were they okay with that?
Yes, they were very much on board.
So obviously you graduate, I think I saw that you graduated in 2024.
Yes.
Or whilst you were in the program, because sometimes we enter into programs, or as students, we get into programs and then we don't see the benefit of it or the outcome of it. Whilst you were in the program, did you realize that it was something that would yield a better outcome, or it was something that you really enjoyed, or did you leave graduating feeling like, why did I get into this field?
How much time do we have? No, the 4-year degree was a lot, but while I was studying, I think it was the love for knowledge that kept me going. The goal at the time, and I think it still is to I like to say I'll collect degrees like infinity stones. So just the pursuit of knowledge. So even though there were a lot of struggles in between and in that journey, I think that I was rewarded. Like I wasn't looking for a grand finish. I was enjoying the little rewards along the way, and that's what kept me going. I didn't really have this grand plan of this is what will happen at the exit. I was very happy to be learning interesting stuff. There was some stuff I wasn't interested in that I had to learn. So that one I had to, but for the most part, I was just excited about getting answers to like, oh, that's why you feel faint when you stand up fast. Those kind of things.
So the things that is like at 3 a.m. we Google why did Jesus walk on water kind of things. Okay.
Yeah.
I see. What was one of the most notable challenges you experienced in your undergrad? I'm talking about something that is not more so of like, a teacher graded me wrong, but something that you feel has made a distinct impact on you till today.
Wow. Like I said, it was a very challenging journey. So, like, what to choose from? What to choose from? What was a challenge? There was a bit of departmental drama. And by that, I don't mean like issues with the faculty that was like lecturing and how they delivered. It was more so basically there was a day where we got a notification at 7:20 something that we were writing an exam at 8, which was a final paper. Right.
7:20 something a.m. or p.m.
A.m. Door.
That you were writing a final paper at 8. And you guys had no knowledge about it.
No knowledge. These are the things that happen, So, and I remember I was livid. I was like, I walked there and like my mates were going there. I was like, you guys, like, can't we do something? Can't we protest? This isn't right. And it was an oral paper. So eventually I got in, spoke to the lecturer, answered the questions. It went well, but like it shook me. It was, it's either you're prepared or you're not prepared.
That's right.
And there were a number of, issues like that, which are not ideal. I think that if God is so good and I managed to end up in a university or a teaching institution, I would try to do things differently. It's not ideal, but I think, I always tell myself, if you're not ahead, you're behind. If you're not ahead, you're falling behind. And so it's just being prepared, even though I hated that situation because I found it unfair, that helped me through it. But how I felt that I almost came to blows with like the course rep, like I was livid.
So speaking of being prepared, so are you saying that just to give a thorough clarification to it, because every time, let's say for example after classes or however your learning strategy was, you were constantly studying, even though that surprise came, because you were always being prepared and being on top of your studies, it helped you to do well. I don't know how you did on that, but it kind of still contributed to you doing well in that exam.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. It was the routine was consistent. The study routine was consistent, and that's what saved me a number of times. So it wasn't always perfect. Obviously, nobody sails through university, unscratched. But it was that constant study routine that kept me going.
What was your study routine like?
Right. So I did minimum 2 hours every day, except for Sundays, which were flexible. And that flexibility actually means I either studied throughout, or didn't study at all. But the goal was you have to do 2 hours. 2 hours. I didn't say what I had to study, what study method, just hit 2 hours. I think at different points the hours changed. So, and those 2 hours didn't include like doing coursework.
Just studies.
Yeah, like it can't be your assignments. It can't be.
Oh, so that's even external from your assignments
and
your other things. So it was just mainly studying and gaining knowledge from what had been taught.
So if there
Wow.
was like a time, because I did science, so a lot of lab reports. If there was a time where I had a lot of lab reports and I had been doing that for like 4 hours, it's still not the 2 hour goal. So I'd have to push and do the 2 hours, and then I can rest.
What kept you focused for the 2 hours? The reason why I'm asking that question is for me, when I'm studying or doing something that I need to focus, I have to put like soft lo-fi Pomodoro music in the background. What
Mm,
kept you very focused in those 2 hours?
okay. Um, Personally, I just have like a fixated attention span. Like I can sit down. I used to have 10 hours, 30 days. We've not even gotten into that, but like I can sit down for a while. If I think I have to put the phone away.
Without touching your phone.
Yeah, I don't like I'd go for breaks, but the breaks I wasn't allowed to be on my phone. So I'd go for a walk or I'd eat or maybe even watch a sitcom. But the phone, because I know it's a trap. I know
That's
that if
right.
I land there, I will
That's
not.
right.
So what kept me focused? I also I did study with me videos on YouTube. So they are like 1 hour to like 5 hour long videos. Someone is just doing their own thing in the background,
Right.
and you're also just, working. For some
Mhm.
reason, that was really soothing, especially around exam time.
That's amazing. No, that's I'm trying to understand the 10 hours because that it's did you train yourself to get to that point?
Yeah. So the 10 hours is not like an everyday thing. The 10
No,
hours would
100%.
be like maybe once a month, every other. It's just like I feel like you need, or at least I needed those bursts of really intense, again, to get ahead.
That's
Because you never
right.
know how the semester is going. And you
Love
know
it.
that, oh, this week is free-ish. I could do so much more because later in the semester, I might have so many assignments. I
Mm,
might have so many extracurricular activities to be doing. If
mm,
I have this free time, I can do this entire day study. I can be free later. I'll reward myself. I was really good at rewarding myself like during the journey. I'll buy a
that's
book, I'll buy
amazing.
a new dress, I'll go out with my
Mm,
friends.
mm.
The rewards for doing that. But yeah, I really loved it. You come out of it and you're like,
You feel accomplished,
yeah,
very accomplished.
yeah.
Whilst you were in school and navigating your education, did you have any friendship hic or relationship hiccups?
All the time. Who doesn't? Who
Let's go
doesn't?
there.
Let's go there. Hey, you sent me places.
Let's
So
go there.
let's say friendship hiccups. I think the you asked earlier about support systems, and I was so
Mm,
fortunate to go to uni in the town where I grew up. So not
mm,
only with my family there, but like the lecturers on campus watched me grow up. So like they know
mm,
me. And so I definitely always felt supported, but I also made friends there. I make them. I came to school with them, and
hmm.
they were the best support group that like I could ask
Amazing.
for. In Everybody says their friends are the best, but mine, saved my life.
Hmm.
But you cannot be that close without conflict.
That's right.
And there were moments of very intense conflicts and like
Hmm.
disagreements.
Hmm.
And I think that the thing that kept me going, because I don't want to say that they never affected my studies or my routine, but I tried not to be down about it for too long, particularly because I'm not afraid of confrontation. So, oh, this is the issue. We can address it, we can fix it. Everybody can take their time to heal and come back.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, I think that university I'm glad you asked this question. I think that university is a very unique time because not only because of everything that you are learning, but because of the human dynamics. I feel
That's
like
right.
learning how to navigate that, how to
Hmm.
be upset with your friend, let your friend be upset with you, and it doesn't end in, insults and
That's
things.
right.
That communication was very valuable. I mean, I don't necessarily see the direct impact on like my studies, but that's
Hmm.
not the only reason why we go to university. I see the
Hmm.
impact now where working relationships,
Hmm.
managing adult
Hmm.
relationships.
Hmm.
So I think if anybody, I know people who don't necessarily socialize a lot,
That's
during
right.
university just so they can be focused. If I would advise you, I'd say take the risk, make good friends.
Good friends.
I don't know how I feel about people who date in the early
I was
days.
actually going to ask you, did you date in university?
Oh yeah, but
Where is it now?
year. Where is it now? We'll send you that dates in university. I didn't date people who were in my campus because I thought that might be
Naya is really enjoying this particular question.
but it's ending okay. It's ending good.
Oh, so yours
By the
worked.
time I was, like I said, I didn't date people in my university. So
Okay.
yeah, God is good. So we'll send updates. The
Save the
entire
dates.
community can what do you call it?
We will save the dates.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Because you're one in a few that, it pulls. It succeeds.
Because, and my reason for this is because that's why I said I don't know how I feel. I don't think that it's necessary in the early days of your university. I feel like every time I meet like someone in level 100 and I'm like, you could just do without it and perhaps later, yeah.
No, you've raised a very very good point, because what I'm hearing from you is your early years in university is time for you to kind of like assimilate, you're learning to know yourself, you're adjusting to the new environment. So there's a lot going on, and that's not the time to be picking on certain relationships that might not even be beneficial for you. But as you get to the latter part of your university years, it helps. It's very beneficial. No, that's amazing advice. Now, moving on to you've mentioned very great ways where you literally sat there for 2 hours and so on. What are other learning strategies that you use to keep you on top? Because from what I hear, number one, you studied for a minimum of 2 hours. So there were certain times when you had 10-hour study days with some breaks where you would not go on your phone. But what are some other learning strategies you used? And also, you said you try to study ahead just to keep you prepared, right? So you're ahead of the class. And for me, what that means is there's some readings that you even do before the next class, which is amazing. Now, besides all that, what are some other practical tools that you use to help you get focused? So I know Auret spoke about Google Calendar. What are some of the things that you also utilized?
See how I'm smiling. I don't know if anybody has heard of this little app called Notion.
I don't like Notion.
Who doesn't like Notion?
I don't like
Notion. Nadia says she loves Notion. I just saw that in the chat.
It's too complicated.
Listen. You have to give it time. My whole life, when I say like my education, my work, everything, Mildred, don't let me down. Don't do this to me. So no, but I get it. It is a learning curve. It is. The first time I downloaded it, I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
It took a while, and then I was like, oh, I can do everything. Like, think about any project, anything I'm working on, content. It was a way that I could, manage all my systems. So Notion.
Okay.
Because we can.
I'll definitely try. I'll give it a try again.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I
would encourage that, like, if you're struggling with where to start, you can look up their templates. Most of them are free, some of them are paid. Whatever you're looking for, there's a template there. I have a few plug. But
free or at a price?
Some are free, some are at a price.
Okay.
So you could track your assignments, you could, track your classes. If you want to be very extra at your grades, I don't do that. But make your notes in one place. It was just very convenient. So Notion really, man, to the day I die. Notion is, my life. What else though? This is a revolutionary idea. I think some people don't really participate in this, but my hack was to learn in class. I didn't pick up on it for the first year or the second year. I think in the third and fourth year, I realized, we're paying school fees. Perhaps it's time to pay attention when these people talk. And so my whole philosophy is, I don't want to go for a 2-hour class not really grab anything, maybe because I'm distracted or something. And so later that day, have to spend 2 hours trying to
Relearning what was
no,
already taught.
no, I don't have that time. I think it dawned on me when I was like, I just don't have, like, I cannot be doing so much for so long. I was like, okay, this class, I'm going to understand everything that happens. And so I sat
In
in front.
class.
Yeah, I sat in front. And actually, weirdly enough, it changed my note taking like system. I wasn't like writing word for word what the lecturer wrote. I just be like really in the zone. And then the lecturer might go, he might ask a question, and then we wouldn't, know the answer. And the whole class is like, and I write the question down. I don't care that I don't know the answer right now. The fact that he's asked the question and nobody knows the answer, this might come up at some other time. So I was just noting down. He might just reference like oh, this is a paper. Like those were the things. I wasn't, because everything you're saying is in the slides. Most often I get the slides, I can annotate, but I was just, what are the gaps? Like, what are the questions that he's asking? What are the questions that the lecturer might be, nudging us? What's the discussion around? So I could use like one A4 sheet and I'll go for like 4 different classes and it's still the same page because I'm not writing a lot. I'm just writing, read more on this word, read more on that. So really, really locking in during classes. And I felt the difference. It was very evident. That's one. And just making use of the small moments. I'm a big active recall person, so I don't like to sit behind a laptop or something and just go through the same thing that has been taught over and over again. I'm just like, I'm quizzing myself, like, what do I know? What do I know? What do I know? And so flashcards. I like to do them like really fast. Ori said she's like a night owl. Notice I never said anything about like all-nighters because I'll sleep. This is past my bedtime right now. Ghana man time. What is like almost 10?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'll sleep. All these things, actually, I learned them in like year 3, year 4. The first and second year of university, I was a mess, which is why I encourage, experimenting, just get to know the system that works for you. If you're like me and when you wake up, your mind is alive and awake, you crunch through like 30 minutes of flashcards, you just feel like, I absorbed that so well. So those were the things for me, really. Class, like really locking in and also just making good use of 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in between classes, the bus ride. Doesn't mean I was never chilling. I chilled quite a lot. But like the gap happens, yeah.
You remind me of what Oris said in terms of how she time blocked, just like you two do. And I think she used a certain word, I forgot, but she basically to describe that there is particular times in the day where we are most, active, our brains work best, and we utilize that. But I think one thing I learned, I personally just learned from you is utilizing the class time to learn so that it saves you time when you're actually studying, right? Because you've been able to grasp a lot from it. Speaking of, I know you said it's past your bedtime, so I don't want to ask you too many questions because you have to go to sleep soon. But what is an advice? Because I know we have parents here, we have students here, but what are some takeaway messages that you would give to students that are presently striving for academic excellence?
I would say learn how to learn.
Okay.
Education changes throughout the journey. What was your saving grace in primary school probably not be the saving grace. It doesn't work the same way in high school. It doesn't work the same way in university. Even in university, it might change as the years go on. You should always be open to what is the best way that I can, process this information and then learn it and be comfortable with it. Experiment. I really believe that a lot of us are underperforming, not because we are not capable, but because we are not open to new ways of, consuming information. It's like, but my sister did this course and my sister wrote all the notes like this, and I will also do it. But when I think about productivity, it's not about the amount of time you spend doing something. It's not about, writing your notes in the most stylish way. it's what gets results. And so we should really be thinking about, and I don't just mean results as in passing the exam or the test, but knowing the thing. Like, you know, you are in a conversation a year after graduation and they mention a topic and you're like, oh, right, I remember that. This was it. Yeah, exactly. Learn how to learn. There's so many. And it's important because I cannot tell you how you in particular learn. It is a thing that you would have to experiment and figure out for yourself at every point of your journey. But that is the advice. If you want to be excellent, you cannot be like everybody else. You have to figure out the system that works for you. Might be a little mad, but you can do it.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I think one of the takeaway messages from what you said is learn how to learn.
Yeah.
Right. So that's amazing. Today has been so good. Honestly, 1 hour of very great information, both from our lovely Jifianu, from Ore as well. And I hope everyone here, whether young or old or middle age, wherever you find yourself, we've been able to learn something and take something away from the pertinent knowledge that has been shared by our lovely panelists. As Nanaya has posted in the chat box, please do well to follow us on all our social media pages, on YouTube, on Instagram, on X, everywhere. Please do well to follow us. Jifianu, thank you so much for coming. We love you. Stay in touch. Keep glowing. Keep shining. We see all that you're doing and keep making impact. We're very proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Very proud of you. Thank you so much, Jifianu. Awesome. So as mentioned, Nanaya has posted all the links in the chat box. Please do well to connect with us. Please do well to follow. We also have a feedback form where you can suggest to us who you want us to have next on our the Women series, and we will do well to reach out to them to bring them here. But beyond that, we stay put. Beyond that, we love you. We appreciate your time. Stay blessed, and we look forward to seeing you on the next Women Within series. Bye, everybody.
Let's get Yeah, this is my palace. Champagne in my chalice. I got it all covered like a wedding band. Wonderland, so my alias is Alice. And we gon' start a mother riot. Or we gon' have to put them on a diet. Look at that, I guarantee I got them quiet. Look at that, I guarantee they all inspired. A-Town made it out there. Straight out Kansas City, yeah, we made it out there. Celebrated.